I've gone over this before. I'm going to go over this again because there's been some new videos about other people explaining why they think their slot car digital system is the best digital system. I'm going to go over why I think Carrera is the best one. I'm going to start off by saying the pros I have of SCX and Skull Electric. So SCX, I think their best pro is that they do their lane changing primarily from the chip. So there's a little pin on the guide flag that pushes down and it switches the lane. The lane doesn't have an electric eye and it doesn't have, I forget what those are called, the little motor inside to force lane change open. What happens is the pinion itself, the guide flag pinion, will go down, hit a groove, make the track flip up. And I've heard people say, well, why is that a pro? That just means if something goes wrong with your chip, your car's screwed. Guys, you need to understand, even in Carrera Digital, which has a really hardy chip, you'll get chip burnouts. So you could have your lane change burnout and you could have your chip burnout. Whereas SCX, at least it's only going to be the chip. If your lane change isn't switching properly, you could just clean it. Like, that's a lot easier of a fix. There's nothing mechanical in it. Well, there might be a spring or something, but the point is that it's a simpler fix and less can go wrong. Skull-electric, straight up, their digital chips are more capable. If your car comes off the track, there can be a track call button on Skull-electric, and then it'll freeze the action. It can even do penalties, and then the track will, you can either, well, you don't have to fully stop even. You could just set everything at half speed and put the car back up. But you could also have the track stop and then be able to get the car back up. There's arcade modes and stuff too. I don't consider that myself a pro. Skull-electrics can do weather and stuff. I've never tried it. I don't have an opinion on it. I'm sure it's cool, but I'm sure you'll only be playing like gas or changing the tires, weather simulation. I don't think you'll be doing both at the same time. That'd be pretty distracting. Okay, now that being said, first off, I'm going to say too, I wish Carrera would make a Bluetooth. Like we have the app. I wish there was like some Bluetooth buttons for track call. So that I could put little track call buttons around the track and just pause the race so I can get a car. If the system had that, I think it'd be complete. I'd love to know if that's even possible from third parties. Like, see if some third party would make it. But okay. So first off, Carrera Digital is 124 track. And I've already talked about this, like I said. So if you want to run 124 cars, guess what? On a digital system, guess what? You're getting Carrera Digital. That's the end of it. Now, there's other track parts you can get that are coming out. I forget there's like two companies. Both, I think, have their own digital pieces, but it's not the same digital system. In the end of the day, if you're going to be running a digital system, it's going to be Carrera for 124. So the other thing is that this is plastic. This track itself is a hard, rigid plastic, and it rejects, it doesn't reject, but it resists UV light. A lot of people don't know that, but yeah, it's how people keep it outside. The rails are also stainless steel. I live in Canada. I have a basement that likes to leak. Stainless steel is very important. I don't want to have little bits of corrosion on my rails. I think that having to clean up corrosion from the rails is a really long and arduous process, and people really need to take that into consideration. Like, do you have a wet basement, or is there even a possibility of a wet basement? Because I gotta tell you, I've restored slot car track. I do not like restoring slot car track, especially large 1/32 scale slot car track. Now, Carrera has a nice warranty of 1 year. A lot of the competition doesn't have that. I'm not too sure if STX is going to be offering that with their STX Advance, but Carrera has a 1 year warranty. I've used it many times, which I'm sure they've been annoyed by, but they've always done it. Now, I'm Canadian. I had to pay for the shipping there and back, but at $25 is a lot cheaper than paying $50, like pretty much $70 for anything, really, than the $70 I'd normally have to. Now this, I've shown this already, but this is a 2x60 turn from Carrera. This is what comes in your starter, and people consider this this is the 2x30. Okay, well, you know what? 1 second. No, I was wrong. That was a 2x60. So this is a 2x60. Now, the interesting thing is people in the Carrera group, Carrera scene, I should say, consider this too tight. This is too tight of a turn. They say you should immediately get some at least 2x30s. Now, Scalextric's wider turn would be about, this would be the bottom, and then let me show you. So if you look, it'd be something like, so ignore this part and ignore this top half. It'd be about these two corners would be their next widest. So Carrera, I think their 2x30s are just perfect. You'd have to literally go to the third largest radius in Scalextric to kind of hit that sweet acceptable spot, which is actually a wider turn. It's not the worst thing in the world, but I'm just saying I tend to like Carrera's radius is better. And Carrera also offers bank turns, which as far as I know, the other two, Scalextric doesn't. I know SCX does, but Scalextric does not offer the bank turns, as far as I know, and right now. What people like to bring up is power, like, oh, Carrera's track doesn't have enough conductivity. The other track systems have better conductivity. This is power taps that you can get from Carrera, and you can tap pretty much as much of the track as you'd like to help with your power conductivity. So yeah, you're going to be having to put in power taps, so at least the track is meant for it, whereas I'm pretty sure the competition, they don't have those kind of easy to do power taps. You have to do it yourself, which is just a big con to me. I don't want to permanently attach wires to the bottom of my track, because if I want to take my track out or change my layout, I lose that option. No thanks. So the last thing that I really like about Carrera Digital is that the fuel calculation is built in. What do I mean by that? The lower your fuel tank, the faster the car goes. Sorry, not the lower the fuel tank, the lower the fuel in the tank, the faster the car goes. Whereas the other two are done by lap count. So it doesn't matter how well or how badly you drive. It just matters about how many laps you've done. That's when you need to fill up. Carrera Digital, right out of the box, will do fuel calculation, real fuel calculation. You can use third-party programs on the other two to simulate fuel properly. Speaking of which, I don't like how Scalextric's pit lane doesn't have a sensor. In other words, you can fill up wherever you want to in the pit. Now, it's true that on Carrera Digital, you can miss the pit lane sensor, and on SCX, at least the old system, if you went too fast, it wouldn't count your fuel. You get a little penalty beat. But on Carrera Digital, it's super simple. Carrera also has a nice pace car function where you can have two pit lanes or just one pit lane and not have gas on, and you can have a pace car driver on the track as you wipe out. I think that's possible with Scalextric, but I do know that Carrera can have up to 6 ghost cars, which is good. Having a ton of things to race. You can actually have 7 ghost cars. A little pro tip. So you could race 6 humans with a 7th pace car. That's only on 132nd. I think on 124 it's 4 car max. But at least you can race 124. So, oh yes, and the last thing. This is what I really like about Carrera Digital. And we're just going to go peek at one right now. This driver display right here. So the other systems, a lot of other people are moving towards like sorry about that. So other systems are moving towards eliminating the need for physical attachments and just doing everything software-based. So your gas will be displayed in the app. So, you could always mirrorcast onto a big screen TV. That's true. But what I like about Carrera Digital is that if I wanted to, let's say, mount a big screen TV behind me where this flag is, and it would be hard for somebody to see the TV if they were standing too close or something, you can at least mix and match. So you can use the app with the driver display. That way, if there's a hard to see spot on your track, but you still want somebody to stand there to marshal as you're playing, you can have a driver display there. Driver display will display their fuel while everybody else can look on the TV. You can have like 2 driver displays if you'd like. Now, I use all of them. I'm pretty old school, but that option is there. I also find Carrera has the better innovation. Like, they're always coming up with new things, whereas the other two I find a little bit stagnant. Like, Carrera recently released the check lane. That lane right there with the white stripes, which does sector timing. So now you can see how fast you drive from the start lane to that point. So you could technically, have a straight, use that as your drag race strip. You can do a little bit of drag racing out here if you wanted to, kind of use that. I'm just saying, Carrera does do a lot of new innovations. The point is, usually it's funny if you go on slot car forums and people ask you, well, which digital system should I get? People always say, if you have the room, go for a Carrera. So what does that say? Anyways, my furnace is turning on. That's going to be it for today. I'll talk to you guys later.